We laid to rest this week the woman that was my second mom. I say second mom because Jenny Scrimshire is Avery's mother. And I've only been in the family legally for a while, since 1999 when we got married. But before that, I was actually part of the family because it didn't take very long for me to be just one of the kids. Jenny loved me like one of the kids. She would laugh at my jokes and get on to me when I was wrong, and she would give me advice. She invited me to dinner and trips, with the family. I was one of the family. Like I said, I joined the family in '99. Less than a year later, our daughter was born. I became a dad, and Jenny became a grandmother. And Sarah called her Ma, so I called her Ma. That's just how it is. I call my wife's parents Ma and Pa, and my parents Grammy and Pappy, because that's what my girls do, my daughters do. So anyway, she became Ma. She's just Ma to me. I just call her Ma. She taught the girls a lot of good stuff. She'd tell them good stories. She spent a lot of time with them. She would play with them. She would laugh. She would run. She would do stuff for them, and the legacy that she started, of course, the legacy flows through Avery and her brothers, but through my daughters. Her legacy is going to go on and on. It's just amazing. Now, I know the passing a loved one is not the time to get really preachy, but it makes me think of something, and it helps me cope a little bit. To remember that a human being is three parts: body, soul, and spirit. A lot of people confuse spirit and soul and say they're interchangeable. They're not. More about that in a second. First, body. It's your flesh, your blood. It's what you see. Jenny is gone. Ma is not going to be around for us to see. But body is stuff you see. That the thing in the casket. I say thing because it wasn't Ma in the casket. It was an open casket. It wasn't her. They did a good job at the funeral home, getting her all gussied up and pretty and everything, but it wasn't her, because she would always smile, not like one of my smiles, but she would smile with her teeth. She was okay, not always. Granted, she wasn't happy all the time, but most of the time she smiled, and she smiled a lot. We have a lot of pictures of her smiling. She would laugh and she would smile, and that wasn't Ma, because Ma had a beautiful smile. Beautiful smile. One of my first stories that I want to tell, my only real story, it's got a storyline, was the first time I came to Steve and Jenny's house. First time I came, Avery had to go to the bathroom, so she ran upstairs and didn't walk in at the same time I did. But Steve and Sue is one of their really good friends, were in the kitchen. I think they were doing a project upstairs, which isn't really important in the story, but they were painting, and then they were cleaning brushes and they were coming down. So they were in the kitchen. Introduce themselves. Pa says, introduce himself, and he says, and this is Jenny, Avery's mom. Shook Sue's hand, made pleasantries. Didn't know any different. I didn't know any different. Then Jenny came down the stairs, and she played along with the gag. And she introduced herself as Steve's girlfriend. And I thought that was awkward. Girlfriend Sue, okay, it's awkward, but of course I was confused. But I just was friendly, shook her hand, great, But in my head I thought, Now, that's Avery's mom. I could tell. They have the same smile. They do. I mean, one of the first things that drew me to Avery was her smile. And Ginny had Avery's smile. Or Avery had Ginny's smile. I don't know exactly. I think you go downhill, like ancestor, descendant type thing. But that's the story I want to relate to this body. That smile, it's still around. Now, even though Ginny has passed, her representation of her body is still here. Avery's got the smile. My girls, they don't look identical, but when they're together and they all smile, you can tell they relate, and they got the glimmer. They get the same kind of mouth. You know, it's not as obvious as with Avery and her mom, but Ginny's spark, her physical spark, her representation is showing up in her kids and grandkids, and probably keep showing up. And look at Zach, her son, Avery's brother. They did this picture together on Facebook a few weeks ago, where they were making they're both making a face side by side. A spitting image. My point is that Ma's body is carrying on. That legacy is carrying on. Soul. Okay, soul. I'm getting a mention about soul. A soul is a conglomeration of what makes us being, what makes us individuals. Our emotions, our feelings, our memories. You know, it's all that stuff inside our heads and hearts. And when somebody passes, their soul kind of disperses all over the place. Those memories are in us. We remember a lot of the things that Ma did. She told us awesome stories. And collectively, we have, it's like her memories are spread out. They're not in one person, because the soul disperses, but it's all over the place. And then orneriness. She had a sarcastic, witty comment. She had a joke to say. She had a story. It's that orneriness. Going along with the gag with Sue and Paula that one day. She had so many little tricks and gags, and it's all in fun. But that orneriness, that's passed on. That's part of the soul, and it's passed on. Everyone who knows her, everyone who knew her, knows of that orneriness, and it touched everybody's lives, and we are changed, and we are better, and we are part of her is in us now. The third aspect of humanity that I wanted to mention, spirit. That's the breath of life that God breathes into us, that we're alive. Spirit is what makes us alive. That spirit, when it leaves the body, goes to heaven. And now her spirit is preparing a place for us in heaven. And Ma's spirit is going to be with her folks and my grandpa and being with Jesus. She's going to be hanging out with them until we're ready to go on, until our bodies pass away and we live forever in heaven. Our spirits, we live forever. Even when we die, we live. And Ma lives. Ma lives in Christ. Ma lives because our spirit is hanging out with Jesus. I already miss Ma a lot. Of course, it's been over a week now since she passed. And I missed her from right after it happened, because last week I spent a lot of time, maybe 10 or 12 hours a day, in her room with her. Even though she was in and out, she would still talk to us, and I miss her already, but I'll love her for always. This is kind of like an emotional vlog, but it also, I want it to be personal for people. Realize that your life touches other people's lives, and you can't even fathom. And be cognizant of what you do, and tell people that how you feel when you can. Because we don't want to wait until their last week, when they're on their deathbed, to tell them. Or not to tell them at all. That would really suck. But I'm blessed because I got to be there that last week. I did get to tell them a lot. And she got to tell me a lot too. And that's all I have to say about that.